What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're doing well. Lots of coverage today. We're going to start with a trade that happened in the NFL a few days ago. Starting their show this past week or so. I was home and there was a lot of stuff happening at my house, having my kitchen redone. So it was very loud. It was not going to be a good environment to do a podcast. I usually do it in my basement. I have a little table set up, but this wasn't the right environment, so I had to wait, and I took yesterday off because I had class right after I got back. But we are back from the studio tonight, so let's get into it. Dallas Cowboys acquired George Pickens, wide receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers. They send, along with a late-round pick swap, a third-round draft selection in next year's draft to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So at first, I thought this was a great move for the Dallas Cowboys. It gets you a legit receiver, too. You only give up their round pick. He's last year of his deal. Apparently, he's not looking for a new deal. At least right now. We never know. Look at the hustle or anything with the Jets. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, I don't know how much I love this for the Dallas Cowboys. On the surface, it's a good move. I think Pickens is a good player. He had over 100 yards as a rookie 2 years ago. 3 seasons ago now. 2 years ago, over 1,100 yards. Last year, 59 catches for 900 yards and 3 scores in 14 games. Missed a few games with an injury. He's a very good receiver. Great deep threat. Very good catch radius. He's a very good wide receiver. And Dallas really needed a wide receiver too. I don't think Pickens is a one. He was the factor one in Pittsburgh because the rest of the receiving core was not very good. And then it can be a 2 next to CeeDee Lamb for Dak Prescott. When it comes to on the field, overall, this is a very good move. You give up the round pick. However, he's in the last year of his deal. He's probably going to want north of $30 million a year in the offseason. And I don't think that they should pay that. Even if they should have, I don't know if they can. You're paying Dak Prescott $60 million a year. You're paying CeeDee Lamb over $30 million a year already. 2 $30 million a year receivers. It's like, the only other team that has that is the Bengals with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And they still got to pay Micah Parsons, who's going to want a huge deal. And so I just don't know. You have Trayvon Diggs obviously still on your books, so I don't really know if they can even afford that, to be honest, in the offseason next year. We'll see what happens. But Pickett is a complete head case and a lot to deal with when it comes to throwing teammates under the bus and being an absolute diva, not taking accountability, always making excuses. He's a lot to deal with. And you got a first-year head coach in Brian Schottenheimer over there, who I do not think is qualified to be a head coach of the National Football League. He's been an offensive coordinator for a very long time. But there's a reason he's been in the league this long, and has never even really gotten a second look to be a head coach. So, overall, honestly, don't love it for the Dallas Cowboys. As much drama you already have to deal with when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys with Jerry Jones and all that. Now let's bring in the most, diva head case receiver maybe in the league that we've seen in a while. Like, honestly, on cue for the Dallas Cowboys, to be honest. I don't think that's in the long run this is going to work out. And to me, Pickens is overrated. He's very good, still only going to be 24 years old this year. But he also disappeared a lot of big games. Like I said, just a complete head case, a lot to deal with. I don't think it's worth it. For a Dallas team, and also, does this make Dallas a playoff team? Maybe. I still don't see this team winning much more than 10 games, losing in the first round. Basically, the Dallas Cowboys for the betterment of the last 30 years. Since their last Super Bowl in 1996. That's what it's been very, very common for the Dallas Cowboys lately for a long time. As for the Steelers side, you really, an offense with DK Metcalf, George Pickens, and Pat Fryer, that's a pretty nice set of weapons. Now, without him, it doesn't look so good. With a very good receiver, DK Metcalf, you have a solid tie-in in Fryer move. Maybe I thought, you know what? We've been really mediocre for a very long time. We have not had a quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger retired. That's probably going on, 5 years since that happened. And, our starting quarterback right now is Mason Rudolph, who isn't any good. They don't have a legit running back with Najee Harris no longer there. George Pickens is a lot to deal with. And he's going to be a free agent after the season. We're already paying DK Metcalf $30 million. Pat Fryer makes $12 million, something like that. We just took a shot on Will Howard in the 6th round in this year's draft. We have a very young offensive line, a coach in Tomlin who's done a great job there and has been there a long time, is a Hall of Fame caliber coach. However, lately has not been able to move a needle. They have not been out of the first round or even gotten remotely close to any of those first round playoff exits in those games, in the last, 6 years? Is it better just to start Mason Rudolph, suck, maybe give Will Howard a look for just because why not? And, if we go 16-11, we go 16-11. We'll have whatever, the 8th, 9th pick, whatever we get. We'll move on from Mike Tomlin and try and get our quarterback in the first round next year. Maybe that's what they thought, and he just so much to deal with. And it's the receivers that they've had over the years. Never buy a receiver that Mike Tomlin is selling. Antonio Brown, Deontay Johnson, Martavis Bryant, now George Pickens. I think you see the trend. It's just not a good idea. And receivers get a locker room problem out of their off their team by giving George Pickens and they have a 3rd round pick. Maybe next year you end up with a top 10 pick in the first round. You can get your quarterback, and you think, all right, I want to. Maybe you sign up for a receiver in free agency, and maybe you trade up in the 2nd round with the extra 3rd rounder you have to get your running back. You've invested a lot of draft capital in the 1st round lately with Troy Fontenot and Zach Frazier and all those guys you have. You spent money on Isaac Samwalo. So maybe this may end up working out in the long run for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So overall, Dallas Cowboys, not sure if I like it. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, I actually like it a little bit more than when I first originally saw this deal go down. Let's do MLB standings. Haven't done this in a while. Still really early. To me, you can't really judge who the true contenders and pretenders are in baseball till at least halfway through the summer. To me, to me, you gotta at least get until the All-Star break to really judge. All right, who's gonna be a contender, who's not really a threat, who's gonna be looking to make a move at the trade line, who's gonna have pieces to possibly sell and look towards next year. It's still early. It's the middle of May. But in the American League East, Yankees 21-16, still leading. Last night, Oswaldo Cabrera had a pretty bad injury. He was rounding 3rd coming home on base hitting from Judge, and he was able to get around a tag, but he clearly was very injured. Some sort of leg injury. Actually had to be carted off, and the ambulance was a little scary. Sending my prayers to him and my well wishes to him. I never want to see especially a young player like Cabrera sent off in an ambulance, especially in a baseball game. Ambulance goes on the field like that. Usually that means, unfortunately, some bad news, but hopefully he gets some good news. Boston Red Sox 2019, more on them in a little bit, but they've been up and down. I thought they'd be a little better. I know they have some injuries in the rotation, but I thought they'd be a little better. Toronto 17-20. I would not be surprised if John Schneider gets fired before the end of his month, honestly. That guy is not a good manager. He's been here 2 years too long. Been there 2 years too long. That's wrong to me. I didn't expect a whole lot out of him. I think I had him right around 500 this year. Maybe a little more. I thought they'd be a competitive team, not a playoff team. But the division is not as good as we thought it was going to be, and you're still not really competing. You're 2.5 games out of the division. Again, it's May 13th, but that's a team that they have a chance to possibly do some nice things this year. They had a chance in the offseason, even after all the mistakes they made. There was a bunch of guys who waited a while to get deals, guys like Pete Alonso and a couple other guys like that, even after the Santander move, and they didn't do it. Now you have a chance to possibly maybe even steal this division. The Yankees don't look super overpowering yet. Teams like Boston are underperforming, and they're not doing it. Tampa Bay 16-21. I didn't think they'd be very good. They're 16-21. Unfortunately, Shane McClanahan, who was your ace, who you thought we were getting back this year off Tommy John. He was starting a throwing program. Now he's getting shut down again because he's just being some discomfort. The shame that guy's career appears to be kind of hanging down the drain. And the Baltimore Orioles, they have been horrible. 13-23. They've been dreadful. Worst team in the American League East. I thought they'd actually be pretty good. I get they lose an ace in Corbin Burns, one of the league's best starting pitchers. You lose a 40-homer guy in Santander. But I thought this lineup is still really, really good and really, really deep. A lot of young pieces in that lineup. That rotation I still thought was good. They eventually you're going to get some reinforcements back. Tyler Wells, Kyle Bradish coming off injuries. You'll get at some point this season. Charlie Morton, who isn't what he once was, obviously in his 40s, but can still eat some innings. I thought you bring in Sugano from overseas. I thought, you still have that guy from there, Grayson Rodriguez, and then it's kind of all backfire. Charlie Morton is completely washed up, and Grayson Rodriguez, I don't even know if he's thrown a single pitch yet. He's gotten hurt, and it just has not gone very well for the Baltimore Orioles whatsoever. American League Central, Detroit Tigers 25-13. They have the best record tied for the best record in all of Major League Baseball, best team in the American League. I think we all knew what their pitching was going to be. Tariq Scuba, who was fantastic last year, won the Cy Young, looks even better this season. The rest of the rotation, we didn't. I honestly am concerned about the rest of the rotation, which is why I did not have them in the playoffs this year. But the rest of the rotation has actually looked very good. Obviously got Casey Mize there. Jackson Job's a guy who was a top prospect. He got a cup of coffee last year. Has taken on a more full-time role. And offensively, which is where I think every fan, including Tiger fans themselves, had concerns, they've been really, really good. They've kind of shocked a lot of people. So, even Javier Baez hasn't been that bad. So, Detroit, good for them. Detroit, stand up. You got the Pistons making the playoff here. The Tigers are good. Detroit sports starting to turn things around. Cleveland Guardians 22-15. Guardians, I thought would take a step back. They have not thus far been playing some very good baseball. In third, the Kansas City Royals 23-16. That's why I had coming out of the division in the spring this year. They've been pretty solid. They've been playing some good baseball. Won 9 of 10 each of the last 6. Minnesota Twins 18-20. They're just very mediocre. They play a little better since they're a really bad start. Have won 5 in a row, but overall have been great. The White Sox 10-28. I mean, they're actually on the. At this point last year, they started off, I think, 11-28, so I guess they're on the same pace they were last year. I cannot imagine they are going to have 121 losses again. They might have 112, but I don't know about 121 or whatever they had last year. That was just dreadful. But they're bad. They're bad. No way around it. They are bad. I can imagine Luis Robert is probably going to be on the trade block. American League West, Seattle Mariners playing some good baseball, 22-14. I feel like that team always starts off well and they kind of tail off towards the end. That always happens in Seattle, but playing good baseball right now. The Athletics, I don't know what to call them. The Sacramento, Vegas, can't call them Oakland anymore. The Athletics. When you look on MLB.com, it's what I have up to read the standings. Obviously, it says each team's full name. It just says Athletics for them. I find it hilarious. 20-18 though, not playing bad baseball. They might not have a home. They don't play anywhere technically, but they're not playing horrible baseball. They just had a big win against the Yankees last week. Houston Astros 18-18. They've been 500. Hasn't gone great. I didn't think they would regress. I mean, they've been kind of in decline for a little bit now. They did win a championship a couple of years ago, obviously, but last year you lose in the first round last year to Kansas City, and this year obviously you continue to get worse. You lose Alex Bregman. You trade away Ryan Presley, your closer. No, I think we kind of all saw them taking a step back. They're at 500. Texas 18-20. I thought Texas would take a step forward. I will say, as a Mets fan, I'm very happy that Jacob deGrom has been able to stay healthy. He's been pitching very well for them. Other than that, the offense hasn't been what we thought, and the rotation behind deGrom, they don't have enough right now. I thought they'd be a little better than they are. Los Angeles Angels 15-21. Hell, I thought it'd be worse. They are not good. Anthony Rendon turns surprise. I think Trout's hurt. Might be hurt again. Just who knew? Angels will be bad, right? National League East, New York Mets 24-14. Mets have been playing some really good baseball. That pitching staff that we all had concerns about, they've looked absolutely fantastic. Griffin Canning was a guy who was with the Angels for a while. Did another great year last year. They sent him over to the Atlanta Braves. Was surprisingly non-tendered by them. Mets scoop him up, give him a shot, and he's pitched really well. And they've had injuries. Frankie Montas not throwing the pitch yet, a guy who they signed in the offseason to be a part of the rotation. And Clay Holmes is a guy who's kind of like a failed closer with the Yankees. Mets gave him a shot to be a starter, and a lot of people were like, "Is this going to work?" He's pitched really well. Kobe Senga's been pitching really well. So, and again, Shomalai is a guy who was great last year, especially down the stretch, and he hasn't thrown a single pitch this year. It doesn't seem to be that close to coming back, and the Mets are still. Rotation is really held up. That bullpen's been absolutely fantastic. Their offense overall has been good. So's gotten hot. Lindor's been great. P. Alonso's been absolutely fantastic. And now all of a sudden, you're getting contributions from guys like Luis Angel Acuna. Jeff McNeil is back. Francisco Alvarez is back. Things are looking up in Flushing. Philadelphia Phillies 22-15, still playing very good, especially at this very moment. A team with a bit of an aging core. A lot of pressure there. A bunch of guys are either getting older and/or about to hit the free agent market in the next year or two. But playing well right now. Braves 18-19. I thought they would be a little better. The team has had a lot of injuries. However, also we have coming off an injury and just things haven't gone super swell for the Atlanta Braves. Obviously, we had the thing earlier this year where Jarrett Kellington didn't run the ball out and Snicker defended him, and then Acuna kind of fired back on social media saying, "Oh, if it was me, you would have benched me." How they started off really, really bad, and they've played a little bit better, but still not playing up to their standards. Watching Nationals 17-21, I did think the Nationals would be a potential sleeper this year to possibly make a wild card run. They have been great so far. However, there is young talent. Mackenzie Gore's looked really good. James Woods looked really good. You had Dylan Cruz up with the team. They have a bright future. Miami Marlins are 14-22. I think we all saw that coming. Their offense is just so putrid. It's not even funny. They're very bad. National League Central, Chicago Cubs. 22-16. They've been playing very well overall. Playing some good baseball. Milwaukee Brewers 19-19, sitting at 500. I did think they would figure it out eventually. I feel like every year, no matter what, they find a way to win about 90 or so games, make the playoffs. Don't go very far in the playoffs, but they haven't been great this year. They're sitting right now at right at 500. Now, the St. Louis Cardinals also at 500. They have turned things around for the moment. They've won 5 in a row. Have gotten back to 500. Still not really buy it, but right now playing well. Reds are 19-20. It's basically Hunter Green is phenomenal. Throws really hard, exciting. He's really good. Edward De La Cruz is a freak, and everything else pretty much sucks about the Reds. That's basically all I got. And the Pirates are 12-26. More on them in a minute. But they're very bad. There's no way around it. They've lost 7 in a row. They're bad. They're not good. Dodgers 25-13. Have the best record in all baseball. Best National League. I think we all could have predicted that. They have the Avengers over there. Padres 23-13. Playing really well. I had a feeling this was going to happen. They're a very good team. They last year were in the playoffs. I thought they were going to beat the Dodgers in the LDS. Forgot who they had on. Was one, I think, on Talkin Baseball. It was the show with Chris Rose. Somebody from the Dodgers, maybe it was Rojas or somebody. And he was like, he said like, he was like, on paper the Padres should have beat us. Chris Rose was like, wait, what? He's like, oh yeah, on paper they have a better squad, but they were able to come. He was like, we were able to play the team and win. It's like, I don't know, dude. You kind of have like 4 or 5 of the league's best players. San Francisco Giants are playing really well. 24-14. They've actually been really good so far this season. Arizona Diamondbacks 2019. Overall, I think they played some solid baseball. Our division is just brutal. And then the Rockies are 6-31. Yeah, they're not doing so hot, like at all, like really bad. They have 2 road wins. You think, all right, they're 4-14 at home. Like, oh, well, at least on the road they'll be a little better. Playing out of Colorado, no, they're even worse somehow. I don't know what's possible, but we had 2 managerial firings recently. First off, the Pittsburgh Pirates fire manager Derek Shelton. Shelton was in his 6th season with the team. Overall, 306 and 440, so not a lot of success in Pittsburgh. They never finished above 4th place in the division. Went just 19-41 in the pandemic year. Lost 101 on the 100 games, respectively, in 21 and 22. A back-to-back 76-win season, so a little bit better, but still not great. They'll start off 12 and 26 here, and then got axed. I don't get it with the Pirates. I don't get it. They're not spending any money. Okay, that's one problem. However, you look at this. just the teams with not only within their division, but the Central teams in general. A lot of those teams aren't. There, a lot of those teams are not a lot of big market teams are in either Central division. The biggest market in either is probably either the Chicago Cubs or St. Louis Cardinals, and those don't compare to New York or Boston or LA or anything like that. And the American League Central had 3 playoff teams last year, with the Cleveland Guardians, the Detroit Tigers, and Kansas City Royals. All of them had middle-of-the-road payrolls. Of all the Central teams right now, the only team in the top half of the league in payroll is the Chicago Cubs. They're at 10th. After that, it's the Detroit Tigers have a second highest payroll of the 10 Central team at 17th. But the Tigers, like I said, have the best record in the American League. So, there is no excuse for the Pirates to, even though they're not spending money, to be this bad year in and year out. Like, I don't understand. Look, Shelton, I don't truly blame him. The roster isn't that good. Very young. The front office and ownership is not giving him a fair hand. However, you need results. This guy's going on his 6th season. This is looking like at least another 90-loss season. It is looking like in the 5 full seasons he's been there, it was going to be, for the 3rd time in 5 years, at least 90 losses. And they were not going to sniff the playoffs for the 6th year in a row, obviously. They were going, right now they are placed last in their division. That's most likely where they're going to finish. It'll be the 4th last place finish in 6 years, and they've been above 4th. So I got why they did it. However, there is no excuse for the Pirates, and they have some pieces. Yeah, obviously Paul Skeens is incredible as their starting pitcher. By the way, he announced he's going to pitch for USA in the World Baseball Classic next year, so that's very exciting. You got Jeffrey Jones, Mitch Keller in that rotation. You have a couple of pieces offensively. Brian Rounds is really good. Brian Hayes is an exciting player. So it's not like they have the White Sox roster. They actually have a few young pieces, which now turns me to the next conversation. Do you trade Paul Skeens? Like, am I crazy for thinking you should trade him now? Like, is his value going to get any higher? Like, you are hopeless. Also, people say, oh, he's got 4 years left to control. He's not going to be on the Pirates in 4 years. It's not going to happen. Okay? It's not going to happen. He has between 2 and 3 years left on the Pirates. Trade him now. I get it. You're like, oh, he's amazing, and you can't put a price on that guy. What you have to get back, no one's willing to give up. Well, you have to try, okay? Because he will not be on this team in 3 years. It's not going to happen. I guarantee it. You can bookmark this, do whatever you need to. If I'm wrong, come at me. But I don't think I'm going to be. I really don't, okay? You have 2 to 3 years left with this guy. His contract says 4 years. Obviously, he's got arbitration for 4 years. But there's no point even. I know you see a lot of these teams do these extensions with these players. Give these young guys 7, 8, 9 years for them. It's a lot of money, but for you, relative to the rest of your payroll, it's not a lot. Is it even worth doing that? Like, you're gonna waste the guy's career. If I'm Paul Skeens, if they offer me, I don't know, 8 years or even $150 million, I'm scoffing. I'm saying no, absolutely not. I'm not wasting my career here. This is just a guy who might, in 4 years, might get a $300 million contract. But who's the highest paid pitcher ever? I think total value of Zach Greinke when Arizona gave him that deal was like $206.5 million or something crazy like that. On a per year basis, I believe it's Max Scherzer. When the Mets gave him that contract a few years ago, it was like $43.3 million. Like, Skeens could blow at least one of those marks out of the water in a few years. So if I'm him, if they come to me, even if it's like what you see the typical lobbies that young players get to buy out their arbitration years, 8-year deal worth $150 million, you're like, all right. Look at $14 million a season for, a top 5 pitcher in the sport who's 23 years old, whatever he is not a lot. However, now I'm signed for pretty much my prime. It's over $100 million. I can support my family, and then I can hit the open market. Still time for one more big contract. That's the idea behind it. But if I'm Skeens, they offer me that. I'm like, go bleep yourself. Okay, I'm not wasting my career. I just think that they should trade him. The Colorado Rockies fire Bud Black, who was in his 9th season. He went 540 and 690 and 8 in the quarter or so season with the Colorado Rockies. By the way, I said they were 6-33. They were 7-33 through 40 games. Like 7-33, holy moly! By the way, the Rockies are on a worse pace than the White Sox were at this point. If you look closely, like their team WAR is, I think their team WAR through 40 games for the White Sox last year was a bit worse. Their run differential were about the same. The team ERA for the Rockies is way worse. I think at this point last year, the White Sox team ERA was like 4.75. The Rockies is almost 6. I think they're like 4 games worse record-wise. Like, they're actually on a worse pace than the White Sox were last year. They are unbelievably bad. Bud Black, look, this team is dreadful. However, again, you gotta have results. Made the playoffs his first 2 years there in 17 and 18. Losing the wild card round in 17 and 2018. He wins the wild card game. Loses over the Cubs, but then loses in the first round to Milwaukee. Since then, every single full season, they've never had more than 74 wins in a season. In 2019, they had 91 losses in the pandemic year, 26-34, 74-87, 2021, or 75-87. They lost 94 games in 2022, 103, 101 losses last 2 years, respectively. And this year, you're 7-33 to start the year. It's just, again, you need to have results. Okay, they are going to miss the playoffs for the 7th year in a row. They're going to finish in last place in their division for the 4th year in a row. They have not placed higher than 4th in 8 seasons. The guy is, 150 games, under 500, and 8.25 years with them. I mean, San Diego was basically the same thing. I'm amazed how Bud Black has lasted as long as he has as a manager. He was with the Padres for about 8.5 years. Did not make the playoffs once. How is a manager last 8.5 years not making the playoffs? He never placed higher than 3rd with the Padres. This is his record with the San Diego Padres. He was there from 2007. He got fired 65 games into 2015. In 2007 with San Diego, his first year there, he won 89 games. Okay, he had a good year. If the playoff form was what it was now, you probably would have gotten in. He had 99 losses in 2008. In 2009, he only won 75 games. 2010, he did win 90 games. All right, you had a low division that year. Again, in this playoff format, you would have gotten in. 2011, 91 losses. You went 76, 77 wins, 3 years in a row, 12 through 14. You saw off 32 and 33 in 2015 and get fired. 649 and 713. In Colorado, first 2 years, we were pretty good. You were solid. You make the playoffs 2 years in a row, but then you lose 90 games. In the pandemic year, you weren't good. You only won, 74 games in 2021. Then 3 straight years of at least 90 losses, including back-to-back years of over 100 losses. This year, you're staring probably 120 losses possibly in the face. And so he's 93 and 11 and 14-3 for his career as a manager. And somehow, I don't know how this guy has lasted almost 20 years as a manager in Malay. However, the Rockies, something's got to be done. They are so unbelievably bad. They haven't tried in years. Like, the only legit free agent they've signed is Chris Bryant, who's maybe has the worst contract in baseball outside of Anthony Rendon. Like, the guy's on the IL for the 9th straight time. He's having back surgery. He might miss the rest of the year. 9th time he's been on the IL in, 5 years with the Rockies. Just, like, they lost 21-0 if he does go to the Padres. 21-0. And I looked at the box score. The only pitcher who I'd ever heard of who pitched in the game for them was Sean Alexander, who's like a death reliever. He was on the Dodgers a few years ago. I think maybe he also pitched for the Giants. Their starting pitcher, I had never heard of him. The guy who came in after Sean Alexander, I had never heard of him. Jacob Stallings pitched 2 innings. Jacob Stallings, your backup catcher, who's not going to even be in the league as a second-string catcher, pitched 2 innings in the game. Like, and they once had a really good core. Nolan Arenado, maybe their best of this generation, traded him away for a bunch of prospects highlighted by Austin Gomber. At best, a serviceable 5th starter. He had Trevor Story. Let him walk for nothing. You had DJ LeMahieu, former batting champion, I think twice. like maybe the only guy or one of the only guys to win a batting title in both leagues, let him walk for nothing. You wasted Carlos Gonzalez's career. You wasted Troy Tulowitski's career. Again, you could trade those guys. Cargo, eventually just cut him when he was at the very end. Tulo, you traded him to the Yankees when he was old and beat up for nothing. How many pitchers have they messed up? Kyle Freeman, I think, finished 4th in the Cy Young voting in 2018. Since then, has a lot of arm problems, hasn't really performed. Herman Marquez at that time was emerging as an elite starting pitcher. Since then, a lot of arm problems, has not performed. John Gray was a good pitcher you had. Messed up his development, you lose him for nothing. He goes and wins a World Series in Texas. I could do this for days. You had a bunch of other good relievers. You had Wade Davis, a World Series winning closer. And then you got rid of him. And you have a bunch of other really good relievers. I think Scott Oberg was another one. You did nothing with him. You had Adam Ottavino, who was elite at one point. You let him walk. He's pitching the playoffs a lot with the Yankees, Red Sox, and the Mets. Like, so sad. It is so sad. It's beyond terrible what this franchise has become. I don't know what you do. And the GM there, Bill Schmidt, God, he's awful. After they lost 21-0, he came out and said, "Oh, I think we can turn it around. The players still believe in this team." You think you can turn us around? You have not been relevant in almost 10 years, and you're 7-33. You're on pace to have the worst team ever. I mean, you think you can turn it around? What legit piece do you have on this team? Ryan McMahon? Michael Toglia? Like, come on. What are we doing here, guys? It's terrible. And the owner, who's in Montfort, God, he's awful. He just doesn't care. I said it to people off camera. I genuinely think the guy waked up, he has to, like, ask his wife or his kids, what time do we play today? I don't think the guy cares. And it is a shame. And for those Rockies fans, which may be far and few between, because it's always cold in Colorado and their team is this, I'm sorry, because you deserve better. Because, God, that is a shameful organization in the Colorado Rockies. All right, let's talk NHL playoffs. We got to do some backdating to last week. On Tuesday, Hurricanes beat the Capitals 2-1 in overtime in Game 1. Also in Game 1, Oilers beat the Golden Knights 4-2. They were down 2-1 going into the third. They scored 3 in the third to come back and win. On Wednesday, you had the Florida Panthers lose to the Leafs. Leafs win 4-3 to go up 1 game to 0. So we go up 2 games to 0. And then the Stars beat the Winnipeg Jets 3-2 to go up 1 game to 0. Thursday, Capitals beat the Hurricanes 3-1 to even up a series. Oilers come back to beat the Knights 5-4. Another comeback for the Oilers, who had a bunch of comeback wins in last year's playoffs. They are something else, that team. They were down 3-2. They were up 3-2 going into the third period. Vegas ties it, but the Oilers win in overtime. And then they take a 2-0 series lead on Friday. Panthers win again, beat the Leafs 5-4 in overtime. Well, not again. This is the Panthers winning. So cut the series lead to 2 games to 1. Leafs were up in this game at one point. Florida comes back and takes the lead, wins in overtime. Winnipeg beats Dallas 4-0 to even up that series on 1 game apiece. On Saturday, you had the Hurricanes shutting out the Capitals 4-0 to go up 2 games to 1. Golden Knights beat the Oilers 4-3 to get a game, make it 2 games to 1 on Sunday. But I hope everyone had a happy Mother's Day. Stars beat the Jets 5-2, make that series, give them a 2-1 series lead. And Florida shuts out Toronto 2-0 to even up a series at 2 games apiece. I told you guys, Toronto with a 2-game lead in the playoffs here, what can go wrong? You almost blew a 3-0 series lead to Iowa last series. Ended up winning in 6. You're up 2 against Florida. Now Florida has evened it up. I will say kudos to Joseph Woll. Stolars obviously had a very bad injury. Now Woll, last 2 games, has played really well, but had 35 saves in Game 4, but wasn't that enough. And then yesterday, Hurricanes beat the Capitals 5-2. Bit of a crazy third period. They beat 3 games to 1. And the Oilers beat the Golden Knights 3-0 to go up 3 games to 1 as well. Winnipeg Jets and Dallas Stars, the only game on tonight. Game 4, Dallas leads 2 games to 1. In other news, Ducks have hired Joe Quenneville as their next head coach, so a very surprising hire. Quenneville He's one of the greatest coaches in NHL history. 969 wins for his career. I believe that was like third or fourth all time. He's been around for a while. He won 3 Stanley Cups in over 11 seasons or so with the Chicago Blackhawks. He started his coaching career way back in '97 with the Blues. He was with the Blues for almost 8 seasons. Was in the playoffs every year, but his last year where he got fired mid-season. Was in the conference finals one time. He was in Colorado for 3 years. Playoffs 2 out of 3 times. And then with the Blackhawks, he was fired at the beginning of his 11th season. Won 3 Stanley Cups. Was in 5 conference finals, including those 3 cups. Then was in Florida for 3 years. Lost in the first round in his first 2 seasons. His last year, he was fired only 7 games in. That really horrible scam with the Chicago Blackhawks came out. And apparently, he was part of that whole group that, knew stuff and kind of covered it up. I really didn't like that he's getting another chance. He is a phenomenal hockey coach. He's one of the greatest NHL coaches ever. But I really wish he didn't get a second chance. But I'm not sure how involved in that stuff he was. But he's next coach of the Anaheim Ducks. From a coaching standpoint, he was the best coach on the market. Ducks are pretty hopeless. They've been bad for a very long time, and they do get a Hall of Fame caliber coach now in Joel Quenneville. For what it's worth. And the Utah Hockey Club have found their team name. The Utah Mammoth is the new name of the Utah Hockey Club, and here is their team logo. I personally really like the logo. If you see in the top left corner, I forget if it's in the corner or not, but on the left side, you got the little M in it. So overall, I think this is a cool logo. I think they did a pretty good job with naming their team. Okay, NBA Playoffs. Let's get to it, dating back to Tuesday again. Pacers over the Cavs, 120-119. They squeak one out. Halliburton with a game-winning 3 really late in that game. Great comeback for the Indiana Pacers. Come all the way back. They were down 14 going to the fourth quarter. Come all the way back. And when they take a 2-0 series lead, Warriors over the Timberwolves 99-88. However, they lose Stephen Curry, though, to a hamstring injury. Not expected back for at least a week. Then game 2, Knicks-Celtics. Knicks win 91-90, 21-17 for Karl Anthony Towns. Brunson, 2-8 free throws. With 12.7 seconds left to once again complete a 20-point comeback and win a 1-possession game. Jones has got to call timeout, though, there. That play to have Jason Tatum's run triple coverage and get double blocked by Bridges and OG Anunoby. That should have been way better. Thunder over the Nuggets, 149-106, not even remotely close. 34 for Shai Alexander. They not up a series of 1 game apiece. Of course, game 1 they lost in the heartbreaker on the Aaron Gordon game-winning 3. They did not close that game out. Thursday, Timberwolves over the Warriors, 117-93. Obviously, no Stephen Curry, if it showed. Minnesota, he got hurt in this game, but Minnesota pretty much dominated 24-11 assists for Julius Randle. Big win for Minnesota on Friday. Cavaliers beat the Pacers 126-104. Take care of business. 43-9 for Spida. Cavs win. And the Nuggets beat the Thunder 113-104 in overtime. I think Gordon had shot to tie the game and he made it. Jokic misses a 3 as time expired, but Nuggets dominate in overtime. Win by 9. They take a 2-1 series lead. 27 assists for Jamal Murray. 32 for Jalen Williams in the loss on Saturday. Celtics get one against the Knicks. 150-93. Dominate from start to finish. 22-9-7 for Jason Tatum. Minnesota Timberwolves beat the Warriors 102-97. 24-10 and 12. A triple double for Julius Randle. Who's Julius Randle? I told you all he could do it in the playoffs. He's playing well. He's played a lot better than this postseason. 33 for Butler in the loss. Minnesota goes up 2-1. And then Sunday, Thunder over the Nuggets, 92-87. Low-scoring game. Both teams did not shoot the ball very well, but Thunder come out and win 27-13 for Jokic, 25-6-6 for Shai Alexander. However, they got some nice production from their bench. Aaron Wiggins, Roby helping out. Alex Caruso, Roby helping out. Pacers blow the Cavs out of the gym, 129-109. They're up by 41 at the half. We're up 80-39 at the half. Crazy. They're up by more points than half than the Cavs scored in the entire first half. Crazy. They take a 3-1 series lead now. Donovan Mitchell might not play in Game 5. He's got an ankle injury. And then last night, the New York Knicks defeat the Boston Celtics 121-113. They go up 3-1 on the Boston Celtics. 39 points and 12 assists for Jalen Brunson. Incredible game. That guy's a stud. I really do feel for Jason Tatum. Had a really tough injury late in that game. He had the ball, and he lost the ball to OG Anunoby, and then goes down on non-contact injury. A lot of conspiracies out there of what it is. I mean, not conspiracies, but thoughts of what it is. It screams Achilles to me. I'm not going to lie. I, unfortunately, would not be surprised if it was an Achilles injury. I really hope it's not. I'm not just a Tatum fan, but he seems like a great guy. He seems like a very good father to his young son. I'm sure he's a wonderful husband. And he is a great player, nonetheless. And I'm fired up that the Knicks are up 3-1. They have a chance to go to the Eastern Conference Final for the first time in 25 years. And they're going to beat the Boston Celtics. I'll definitely have bragging rights over a lot of my Boston friends up here. But I want to beat them at their best. And I never want to see an elite young player like that go down. Really is a shame. I wish him nothing but the best, and I hope he gets the best news that he could possibly get. In the other game that happened, Timberwolves over the Warriors, 117-110. They go up 3-1, 33 on the average. Warriors look clearly out of sync without Stephen Curry, and they are now on the brink of elimination. And tonight, it is Game 5, Pacers and Cavs. Pacers will be 3-1. Donovan Mitchell may not play in the game. And 9:30. Both games are on TNT, True TV, and Max. Nuggets Thunder Game 5. Series is tied at 2 games apiece. NBA Draft Lottery. It happened. And these are the results. As you can see, I'm not thrilled. Spurs ended up with the 14th pick. They had somebody else's pick that ended up being 14th. Maybe it was the Kings. Hawks were at 13. The Bulls were at 12. Trailblazers at 11, Houston Rockets have 10, Toronto Raptors have 9, Nets have 8, Pelicans have 7. The Washington Wizards, who were tied for the worst record in the league, or maybe second worst, they had 15 wins all year. Then it was 6. Jazz won just, I think, 14 games or 17 games. Maybe the Wizards had 18 wins. They ended up with 5. The Hornets, who I think were third worst, they end up with 4. Philadelphia 76ers get the third pick. San Antonio Spurs get 2 in a surprise. That's like huge for them. And the Dallas Mavericks have the number 1 overall pick. The Mavericks were really in the play-in tournament. And they got 1. Let me get this straight. Nico Harrison makes the dumbest trade, maybe in sports history, sending Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis in the 2031 first. And he gets number 1 overall pick and gets to take a potential generational prospect in Cooper Flagg? Really? Come on. What are we doing here? I'm sorry, but the NBA toys with these things. Then they used to have, like, the ping pong balls, and he would like, pick it out of a thing like that. Now that they don't even show that, they just have the one dude just go, oh, and the 12th pick, he reveals the card. I'm sorry, but they rigged these. You know. Also, when it comes to the Lakers, they tried to send Chris Paul to the Lakers, and David Stern was like, "Oh, well, I'm technically the owner of the Hornets now. I don't want to do that, so let's not do that. But I'll give it the first pick. I'll give it the first pick. It's okay. I think they took when they got Kemba Walker, and then all of a sudden the Pelicans trade Anthony Davis. One of the league's best players to Los Angeles Lakers. After he requested a trade. Pelicans end up with the first pick, and they end up taking Zion Williamson with Tommy. That was a generational talent. And now this year, the Mavericks trade Luka Doncic, one of the best players in the league, to the Dallas Mavericks in a stunning, surprising, weird trade in the middle of the season for Anthony Davis and the future first. And they get number 1 overall pick. And they get to take Cooper Flagg, who's generational talent. Little fishy. Because it wouldn't be very convenient for the league, if Cooper Flagg went to the Washington Wizards or the Utah Jazz, the Charlotte Hornets. Those franchises aren't very good, and those teams suck. Dallas Mavericks goes to Cooper Flagg. All right, that's a bigger market. They should have Kyrie at some point next year, hopefully. You also have Klay Thompson and Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, and these other pieces. All of a sudden, as hopeless as things looked for the Dallas Mavericks, if healthy next year, they could be a pretty good team, actually. Also, Spurs with 2, oh my god. That core is already in team with Wemby and De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Kelvin Johnson. Now they have 2. They need to take another great player. Could they trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo? Maybe Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sochin, a bunch of firsts, including this year's pick. The starting lineup would be De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, we'll say Keldon Johnson, Giannis, and Wembanyama. And Chris Paul probably gets re-signed. You still have Harrison Barnes. Yo, that could be a top 3 team in the West next year. Spurs might find themselves in the Western Conference Finals next year. Oh my God, could you imagine? But and you still have pick 14. You can get a good role player. Oh my God, even if I don't trade for Giannis, you get another star player at 2 potentially, and another good player at 14. Spurs are going to be a playoff team next year. Works out perfectly. Obviously, Kirk Popovich, Harry Tyrese had a bunch of health issues, and now he's going to retirement. He's going to still be the team president, but not be the head coach anymore. Mitch Johnson, the interim coach, would now be the full-time coach. But Spurs, they're probably honestly the real winners here, even over the Dallas Mavericks, because they already have a legit young core. Then they get either another legit piece, or they could trade it for Giannis. You put next to Victor Wembanyama, the league is screwed. Okay, so a few things we're going to finish up with today. First of all, Derek Carr announced retirement from the NFL. Of course, he's had that shoulder injury that Saints weren't sure if he's even going to be able to play with this year. He decided to retire. Congrats to Derek Carr on an 11-year career. It's a shame he didn't get to go on his own term. It's a shame, but congrats to him. However, for the Saints, I do think this is a bit of a blessing in disguise that he does step away, because now it frees up $30 million in cap space next year. Yes, you have probably the worst quarterback room ever now with second-round rookie Tyler Shough, Spencer Rattler, and Jake Haener. You are probably going to win 2 games this year. You are probably going to have the first pick. However, not the worst thing if you can get your quarterback. Now you can finally not be in cap hell, and you can finally actually possibly rebuild this team. So, it's not the worst news if you're the New Orleans Saints. Rafael Devers was into hot water. This is what I meant when I said earlier that we were going to circle back to the Boston Red Sox. So, if you remember back in spring training, they asked him, are you going to move to DH? So, new free agent signing, Alex Bregman, All-Star World Series champion, Gold Glove winner at third base, can play third. And he said, no, I play third. Eventually, they worked it out behind the scenes. He ended up moving to DH. Now, all of a sudden, Tristan Casas, your first baseman, has a torn patella tendon. He's out for the season. So they then asked Rafael Devers, would you be willing to move to first base? And he said, I'm not willing to move to first base. And then he decided not only to publicly say this is the case, he also dragged his team through the mud. He called out the GM, Craig Breslow. He said, talking about Craig Breslow, I'm not sure what he has with me. He played ball. I like to think that he knows that changing positions like that isn't easy. I know I'm a ball player, but at the same time, they can't expect me to play every single position out there in training, referring to spring training. They talked to me and basically told me to put away my glove, that I wasn't going to play any other position but DH. Right now, I just feel like it's not an appropriate decision by them to ask me to play another position. That was his quote. And then when they asked him about maybe would he entertain possibly doing playing first in the future, they said, I don't think so. They told me I'm a little hard-headed. They already asked me to change once, and this time I don't think I can be as flexible. So he called up a GM. This is my take on it. So I get his frustration. He's been a third baseman his whole life, and then I told him, we're going to have you DH. Wasn't thrilled about it. He made his comments known. Eventually he decides to do it. Now, he still is. I mean, he's being paid to hit. He's one of the best hitters on the planet. He can still do that. He's been doing that. He's been playing very well. He's hitting very well at the plate as always. Then now they're asking him to play a position he's never played before. He's been in the league for 8 years, and so he's like, wait, I thought you didn't want me to hit. I thought I was gonna be a DH team. They want to play first, so it's like, I'll try, but I don't know what you're expecting out of me. You might be better off, making a trade for a legit first baseman. Possibly, do you have somebody in the minor leagues that may not be, a great hitter, but at least can play that position that you can call up? However, to drag your GM through the mud like that is so unprofessional. Like, that's just pathetic. So, also, the reason they're to move off third base in the first place is because Devers, since he entered the league, is the worst third baseman defensively in the entire league. When it comes to his defensive metrics, Alex Bregman was voted the best defensive third baseman in the league last year. Has been an elite level for third baseman defensively, and of course, he brings all the offensive tools as well. His whole career for the Houston Astros, 2 World Series championships. They sign him to a contract. They're like, oh, I'm not gonna. I still want to play third. It's like, what? I get it if he's in the contract year. He could hurt his value, if it messes with his head, or that now our team's like, oh, you're allowed to defensively, I want to pay you. I get that. But he already got his back. He signed a $300+ million contract like 2 years ago. Like, why are you not willing to move off of third? And have to play first base? So, look, I get why he'd be skeptical. It's like, I've never played it before. You might be, the team is probably better off signing or trading for a veteran, maybe calling somebody from the minor leagues. However, to now you drag your general manager through the mud like that to create distraction for your team, like, that's just very, very childish, very, 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 very immature. If I'm trusting Case House, I'm like, what the hell, dude? Your teammate's leg just exploded, and you're not willing to take, to switch positions to help him and help the team? Really? Mookie Betts is pretty much his whole career played right field, played a second base in the pinch, maybe like the minor leagues when he first came up with Boston. He gets the Dodgers. He's playing right field. But then all of a sudden, obviously, because they have a very deep lineup, Dave Roberts comes to him and is like, hey, need you to play second base. No problem, coach. Got you. He goes and does it. Does his thing. Still was an elite player. And then this year, he's like, man, we added even more players. We need you to play shortstop now. That he really hasn't played a lot of. No problem, dude. Got you. And now Dave Roberts comes to him like, by the way, we're probably going to rotate between the outfield, second, and short pretty much the whole season. Okay, cool. Not a problem here. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. Also, it's first base. As someone who played first base growing up, when I was younger, I played youth baseball. It's not that hard, okay? It really isn't. When the ball's on the infield, not to you, run to the base, it's not that far from you, and catch the damn ball. You're a professional baseball player. You make over $30 million a year. Okay? If the ball's hit to you, field a simple ground ball, step on the base. Maybe you have to throw the ball to second base. Whoa, crazy. It's the easiest position to play, I would say, on the field. I would say. Not a whole lot of ground to cover. You're not making long throws most of the time. The longest throw you have to make is maybe to second base to maybe turn to a player or something. Maybe a really throw to home plate, throw from the outfield. That's about it. Like, I get you. It's gonna be a learning process. You're gonna make some mistakes, but that's something that they're willing. I would think they're willing to accept. As long as you go up there and you still master the play like you've been doing and you've been doing your whole career, I think they'll live with it. But to drag your front office through the mud like that, just don't do that, dude. That's terrible. That's terrible. And also, keep in mind, Craig Breslow did not sign him to that $300 million contract. If he views Devers as a $300 million DH, could he get traded? If there's been talk about that, at first I thought it was ridiculous. The more I think about it, I'm like, Craig Breslow views him as a $300 million DH. The only DH that's even worth something close to that is obviously Shohei Ohtani. Because he's doing what he does at the plate has almost never been seen before. And when he's able, he pitches like one of the league's best pitchers as well. So if he's a third baseman making $300 million, if he's elite like Devers, you can live with that. The guy's hitting 280 with 30 homers and 110 RBIs. That's fine. A DH though, if I'm them, like, I might move him, maybe get some help in the rotation, get yourself a bullpen piece. Remember, this is a guy who's still in his prime, one of the best hitters in the sport. Terrible defender, but he can play third, I guess, in the pinch. You have to eat a little bit of money. I've heard they won't have to eat much money. Maybe like $2 million, something like that. If you can get a couple of really good starting pitchers, you get a legit bullpen piece, maybe a left-handed bat that you need. All of a sudden, you're like, that doesn't seem that bad. It's like the Phillies, who's got an aging core, bunch of guys about to hit the market. That could be intriguing. They have a bunch of really good pitching prospects. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but Devers, that could have been handled on both sides. This should not have been aired out in the media, but on both sides, this should have been handled a lot better. To close this thing out, we're going to recap Backlash from this past weekend. The first match was a Fatal 4 for the United States Championship. Jacob Fatu defended against LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, and Damian Priest. Fatu retains Sol Sikoa came out and kind of helped him. And the debuting of Jeff Cobb. For those not familiar with him, he was in New Japan for a very long time. Was also in AEW briefly. He's a really good wrestler, one of the best in-ring guys probably in the world. You saw Fatu after the fact, walked right past Solo and Jeff Cobb. I think this is eventually going to culminate in a match. Obviously, they're going to kick Fatu out of not even I don't know if I want to call it the bloodline. That storyline's pretty much over, but Solo and Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb is not Samoan. People are saying that no Samoan. He's not Samoan. He's Filipino. He is not related to Fatu or Solo or Tama Tonga or Roman Reigns or The Rock or any of them. He's not, okay? He's from the Philippines. But Jeff Cobb, he's a really good wrestler. He's actually wrestled some of the WWE guys years and years ago. He wrestled Gunther when he was Walter years and years and years ago. He wrestled Bronson Reed years and years and years ago. So, but he's really good. I'm very excited to see where this goes. But Fatu retained. Overall, was a very good match. By the way, on that table spot between Priest and McIntyre did hit his head on the floor. However, Triple H said, a little shaken up, but he's going to be okay. Then we had Lyra Valkyria defends the women's IC title against Becky Lynch. Really good match. I'm happy that she retained. Of course, Becky, after the match, was pissed and attacked Lyra Valkyria. I'm very happy that Lyra won. But can we stop saying Becky Hogan? She's uplifted a lot of young superstars over the years. Bianca Belair is none of them that comes to mind. Stop with the Becky Hogan crap. I mean, she actually called it out on some podcast that she went on like a week or two ago. Her main problem was like Hulk Hogan's a horrible human and she was being compared to him. But Lyra Valkyria wins. It was a really good match. Happy that Lyra won, and she's gonna be a star. For a while, I said, all right, love her in the ring. I like her entrance music, but her character was kind of boring. Now that she got to really show her personality and her mic skills, to me, I think she's a budding star. I'm very happy that she retains the championship. Dominic Mysterio in the Intercontinental Championship match with Penta. He wins. Of course, gets help not only from the other Judgment Day, but El Grande Americano helps, of course. So I think it's Chad Gable at least. Dom retains the IC title, which I am happy about. Penta's probably going to be in a team with Ray Fenix sooner rather than later, once again, like he was in AEW. And I do want Dom to get a legit run. This should culminate, obviously, you can see like Finn Balor, where he had all the time in the world to interfere. He took his time getting the chair, and it was too late, and they all got kicked out. So after the match, if you look closely, Finn was kind of had a not so good look on his face. This is gonna end with one of them turning on each other, and then those two having a match. And I do think Finn should win that match, but probably not for a couple of months, at least. But so that was a solid match. Gunther against Pat McAfee. I thought this was a very good match. I actually liked this match a lot. Pat McAfee was way better than what I thought he was going to be. I thought he was just going to go in there. He was going to try. You'd obviously have Michael Cole doing what he was going to do at a commentary. And but they did a really good job with this match. Gunther took some legit shots from Gunther. He was in a chokehold multiple times. He ends up getting choked out. He did way more than I thought he was going to. I thought this would be a 6-minute squash match. No, that was a legit match. And that was a very good match. And I love Michael Cole. By the way, that promo he cut before we started on Gunther was incredible. Him going to ringside. He actually tried to help Gunther win by grabbing his foot. Oh my God. Kudos to Michael Cole for our whole of this. He's done a really good job helping the storyline as well. And Gunther, of course, wins, defeating Pat McAfee. And John Cena and Randy Orton. Great match. Cena retains the title. Insane match. It was like 10 different finishes at one point. You had security in the ring, and Orton RKO'd like 5 or 6 of them. He RKO'd Nick Aldis again for the 3rd time in his career. Insanely good match. Had everything. Of course, he had R-Truth coming in there and like saying like, "Oh no, don't hit him, don't hit him," and then he ends up distracting Randy, and then Cena hits Orton with a low blow and him with the title, and the ref crawls back in the ring and wins. At first, I didn't like R-Truth getting involved. Then, the more I thought about it, it was like you saw him kind of like still supporting Cena. Obviously, the whole thing, oh, it's just Charlotte here. Obviously, the whole thing, R-Truth, he's the comedic relief kind of guy. It makes sense. And then afterwards, in the press conference, yeah, Triple H doing this thing. Then Cena came out and was like, "Hey, I'd like to say something." And Triple H was like, "Oh, okay, Cena." Remember after WrestleMania, he called all the questions clickbait. Obviously, he was like, "Oh, I do owe you an apology. I should be next to the media. I will field all questions." And all of a sudden, R-Truth comes over. He's like, "John, I know you can do it, dude." He saw Cena trying not to break character. He starts almost laughing. He's like, "I still like even if people say, you suck and can't wrestle," and then Cena gets all pissed. He stands up. He goes, "Ron, calling him by the govy is crazy." By the way, that was over the line. If you say anything else, there will be consequences. Cena sits back down. R-Truth starts to be like, "But I was just," and then Cena picks him up and AAs him through the table there, and then walks away. I expect you two to fight at Saturday Night Main Event in about a week and a half next weekend. But Cena Orton, last time ever you saw Orton, Cena looked a bit emotional, like after the cameras didn't catch it, but some people on social media did. Maybe it's hinting at a potential face turn once again. It could just been that last time ever with Randy Orton put on a banger of a match. I think that one meant a lot to him. I can imagine because they put on an incredible match. This is probably one of their best matches, honestly. To be honest, between John Cena and Randy Orton. When it comes to you could argue it's their best match that didn't have a stipulation involved in it. Like it wasn't like a tables match or a ladder match or something like that. But those two were great, and they put on an incredible match. And Cena retained overall. Thought Backlash was very good. I just thought it was going to kind of suck. I didn't get a lot of hype, but very short build. Overall, thought it was actually very good. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long, and have a great day.